Welcome back, I'm Tedward, and today, thanks to Acton Auto Boutique in Acton, Massachusetts, we have the pleasure of driving this 996 2004 Porsche 911 Carrera 4S Cabriolet. Bit of a mouthful, and it's 40 degrees, warm enough to keep the top down, I think, for most of this drive. But boy, oh boy, our 996 is looking hotter and hotter. And it's wild. With the C4S, you've got the wide body without the wild intake vents on the sides that the turbo would have. But you do get all of the style. I think the 4S might be the looker of the bunch. It's got smooth lines, wide hips, and with the aero package, this monster wing. And when you chop the roof off, it kind of makes it look really sleek. It's one of those odd times where, honestly, it has a very distinct look all its own as a convertible. It doesn't ruin the shape or line. I think some would disagree with me. But honestly, I do think this looks really cool as an open cabriolet. Inside, we've got the black leather, a 6-speed manual transmission, and of course, a flat 6 in the rear. The rear engine, but being a 4S, it's all-wheel drive. So I guess this is appropriate to have it out in the winter because this could be your all-weather daily driver. That's the idea of Porsche 911s. Yes, they're sports cars. No, not necessarily supercars, but they can be used all year round. This one looks to be lowered a bit, so we do need to be a little cautious about where we're driving today so as to not hit any ugly icy patches of things that have maybe fallen off of trucks, but we'll do our best. We've got these beautiful twists, and man, oh man, do they look good in the rear. And gluing us to the road, we've got a 225 section tire up front and a 295 out in the rear. It makes about 320 horsepower from its flat 6. It's naturally aspirated, no turbos, but God, does it sound good. And honestly, I think the NA 911s sound better than the turbos. I'm certainly not alone in that. That's not a hot take. It's just kind of the way it is. I don't know if this is a full factory aero package or if they put it on later, but I don't care. It looks pretty good. I think it's seal gray. I'll correct that if it's not correct, but that's what I think. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to get PTS RS in here to check it out. You can't see a whole lot of that engine, but you can certainly see a lot more of what you could see or can see in like a 991 or a 992. So when we open this up, we still have access to certain things. We can fill our oil and coolant. You can actually see some drive belts. It's not simply two fans and like a tiny little slit of an opening. So there is some access. Not that you're going to be doing any work from up here. You're probably either dropping the engine or doing it all from underneath. And up front, we've got a lovely frunk with a wild shape. I always like the shape of the frunks of these 911s because look at this. It's not straight. It has kind of a sexy curve to it, and that outlines the fried egg headlights that people really complain about too much. I think these look kind of cool now. Maybe it's because like first gen Cayennes are super hot overlanders and people are finally coming around to the idea that they really just made the Cayenne look exactly like a 996. Who knows? All I know is that this is still a hot ticket today. 6 CD changer up here and a little bit of frunk space. I'm freezing cold and we need to get out and go for a drive. So let's start it up. Got our Porsche key, left-hand ignition, of course. I'm telling you, this thing sounds really, really good. Red seatbelt seems a little ahead of its time. I feel like the whole color match seatbelt thing got really big later on, but hey, good for them in 2004. It is freezing. Oh my goodness. Let's go see how she drives. It's really hard not to love a 996. They handle so well. It has kind of that old school analog vibe to it, despite still having computers running the show. They aren't perfect. If you're buying a 996, you know that you have risk of bore scoring, you have risk of IMS failures or rear main seal leaks. That's the deal though. When you buy any of these sort of like old German cars, and by old, oh my goodness, it's depressing to say that because it's 20 years old It's 2004. I was in high school when this car was made, and I was a sophomore, not a senior, but they do have just known problems, and pretty much anything from that era from Germany is going to have something of this sort plaguing it, or at least putting a little black mark on it. But the good news is it's sustainable and everybody knows the issues. So, nope, that's not where I'm turning. I'm turning up there. Everybody knows the issues. So you know that if you have a good mechanic, if someone like looking out for you, you'll be just fine. And they sound so good. It's raucous. This is the best thing about these cars, is that everyone lusts after like a turbo with an X50 package. They're fast. They're crazy. You can tune them. They'll move. But the thing is, they don't sound fantastic like this does. This has that old school flat six sound that's the iconic thing you're looking for. And the water cooled cars that came when 996 was debuted to replace the 964, they came with this sort of like guttural, grunty sound. They sounded a lot almost like 3.2 Carreras at the soul, at the heart of them. And I own a 3.2 Carrera, so whenever I get into a 996, there is a little bit of a familiar vibe. Granted, my 3.2 Carrera has an M&K muffler, and it sounds pretty specific to that. Oh my goodness, it's 38 degrees. I am cold. Need some gloves. No heated steering wheel in this guy. What a bummer. If I had one complaint about these cars, it's just the shifter. I always think like getting into third is always like a little awkward. It's just not exactly where you expect that gate to be. The clutch is super tactile though. It's really easy to drive. If you're an uncomfortable manual driver, this clutch is going to help you a lot because it definitely tells you what's going on. This is what I like about 911s, is that they're really tactile cars with a ton of feedback. Can't rip too hard right now because it's cold. We're on summer tires. Yes, we have all-wheel drive in the 4S, but that doesn't do us any good in a turn or trying to stop. It's only going to get us off the line. And given what time it is, it's probably around the time where schools are getting out. We want to be respectful of people in these neighborhoods. But here's the thing about this car. It's very normal and daily drivable despite being a phenomenal sports car. I've taken a 996 down to the Tail of the Dragon with my friend Maddox. He actually works for the Drive now. And it made for a really great GT car. I mean, yes, this doesn't have the greatest interior quality and things like that, but it does hold up, and it's fine. But it does make for a really nice highway cruiser that you can just get out and drive for like 1,000 miles at a time and enjoy. The seats are super supportive. I've got lateral support, and they're classy looking seats. They don't look ridiculous. They look sporty, but admirable in style. They don't look like a McLaren Senna seat, like it's gonna wrap around you. But they do have good lateral support, especially for thinner frames. I don't know how big you can be for these to kind of fit the bill. But the seating position is perfect. It's perfect. I have great visibility to my classic and iconic 5-gauge display like 911s have. I have the steering wheel pretty much just right below my eye level, and then I've got all this great visibility over the hood. So even though I have power steering as well, unlike the old 3.2 Carrera days, 964 got power steering, and then these of course got power steering, but the front end of these cars is still relatively light because most of the weight is in the back. Brakes feel phenomenal. I mean, that's the thing about these cars, is that they're old school enough that if you don't want to drive like an air cooler or can't afford an air cooler, they've got that bit of sensation of the way they handle and drive, but they're modern enough that you can sit in traffic. It's gonna keep itself cool. It's not a Harley Davidson like basically my 911 is in traffic. If you're on a super hot day and you come to a standstill, it's a little frightening to keep things moving. See what I mean? That third. It's a 996 thing. You just gotta get used to it. It's not this car, it's just the way they are. That's the thing. You get used to it, you adapt, but you know, I literally just got in this car and sometimes you got to reprogram to certain things. Oh, that's adorable. That's what this car is all about. People criticize 996s, and for some good reasons. I don't think style is a good enough reason to complain about these cars. I think they're beautiful. I really do like the shape and style of the 996. And sure, it's probably fair to complain about some of its mechanical shortcomings when we're talking about IMS bearings or rear main seal leaks or things like that. Like, that's stuff that shouldn't go wrong in a Porsche. But 997 did not save the day when it comes to these issues. Remember, 997.1, the next generation after the 996, take your time, oh my goodness, had the same IMS issues. Like, that didn't just go away. So if you think that you're just getting into a cheap 997 and avoiding all the quote-unquote 996 problems, well, you're wrong. You want to avoid those problems, you got to get a Metzger or a 997.2 with a DI engine. So some takeaways from today's short little drive in the C4S. You don't need the turbo. You can get away with the power and torque of the naturally aspirated engines. Carrera 4S, still fun to drive despite being all-wheel drive. I know a lot of purists only want a 2S, and I get that. I get that you want a rear-wheel drive 911, but it doesn't mean that adding front axle power takes away all the joy of the car. It adds a little weight, it adds a little bit of texture to the front of the car, I suppose, but it's still very much a 911. I mean, I don't think anyone's looking at all-wheel drive 911s today from 992 or 991 generation and saying, oh, those aren't really 911s. Of course they are. And the turbos, by the way, are all-wheel drive. You got to get a GT2 or GT2 RS if you want a turbo 911 of this generation in rear-wheel drive. Plenty of power, plenty of torque, and the 4S is cool because it has a wide body. It looks the best, actually. No, we're going this way. And because we don't have too much power, we can wind it out a little bit and then shut it down. You know, we're on like normal streets. Most of us live in places like this where we can't just be going 90 miles an hour everywhere. As much as that sounds like a fun dream that you would see in a commercial or on some really cinematic video of the car, it's just not the reality. And if you're in a 911 turbo, you're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna get in trouble because what I just did, you'd be going 100 in the turbo. You don't need to be doing that. And we get to enjoy the spirit of this powertrain, hear this engine, and play with all the fun tactile features. Definitely recommend a 6-speed manual over the automatic. The automatic's apparently fairly robust, but remember, this is like pre-PDK, so they are torque converter Tiptronic automatic gearboxes. Maybe not the dream for your spirited enthusiast thing. So that's going to do it for me and the 996 Carrera 4S. I know this is a short one. I just wanted to take it out real quick. It's very, very cold, and I don't really want to hit a patch of ice and slide this off into a ditch before they sell it. That would be an unfortunate end to this video, although it'll probably get a lot of views. So anyway, thanks to Acton Auto Boutique for the opportunity to drive this really nice and well-sorted Carrera 4S. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.